Hi everyone, I'm Sosine. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk about the Bernie meme. So you may have seen from the inauguration, Bernie sitting with his mittens in that cheap little chair, just huddled for warmth. It is so adorable, and people have been photoshopping it into absolutely everything, from the Game of Thrones chair to the sorting hat to the imagination is limitless. It's been incredible, and I've enjoyed seeing all of them, and I laughed heartily for everything. I want to thank a bunch of my buddies, Zach Pinsent, Marika, Noelle, Abby Cox, Bernadette Banner. We've all been sharing these memes for so long. They've just been such a riot. So with all of their encouragement, I started digitizing this. In particular, I was inspired by a Bernie meme where Bernie was put into the Bayeux Tapestry from 1066. And that embroidery has such a distinct style to it. I say it's distinct because, as you can see, the flesh is not actually colored in. It's just an outline with black or brown, and then they do fill in the embroidery on the accessories and the clothing. So I thought I would copy that embroidery style for my Bernie pocket. And I wanted to make that embroidery a reality. So I digitized him, and it was really fun digitizing Bernie and his mittens. Honestly, digitizing for drawings like this was so much faster than doing historical embroidery, because historical embroidery, you have to worry about the way that the stitch falls, you have to worry about the directionality, and all of those details. Here, I felt like I was just drawing a picture of an awesome person and just drawing him the way I wanted to draw him. So I got to be very free with my stitches, and I didn't have to worry about directionality or historical accuracy, just capturing the fun mood of it. And that was delightful. Everything was digitized on my palette 11 by me on a Surface Book, this one here. And I do that because that's my favorite way to digitize. So as soon as I finished digitizing him, I was going to just put him on random stuff. And then Costuming Drama was like, no, you have to put him on a pocket. And then I remembered, oh my God, she's completely right. Now, for those of you who don't really know that much about 18th century clothing and fashion, women would wear these U-shaped pockets under or over their clothing. So even under these voluminous gowns, women would actually have pockets. It's something that boggles the mind today, because women's formal wear today does not have pockets, and yet in the 18th century, the fanciest of court gowns all had pockets inside. These pockets were actually these U-shaped garments that they would tie around their waist. It had a slit in the middle, and these pockets were fairly roomy and could really hold a lot of everything that women had, including their secrets. These pockets were decorated with flowers and favorite pets, and usually embroidered in very fancy and whimsical ways. The poorer classes also decorate their pockets, and they would wear them on the outside frequently, where they could easily reach in and grab their cash or whatever else they would need. For those of you who have been following me on Instagram for a while, you'll know that I actually made 18th century pockets with a dumpster fire on it, with the idea and illustration by SK Madrano on Instagram. She did the original drawing, and I converted and digitized it into pockets. And part of those proceeds have been going to charity. So I thought it would be fun to make this year's pockets the Bernie Mittens pocket. And of course, part of the proceeds will be going to Bernie's charity of choice, Meals on Wheels Vermont. You will notice that the digitization is whimsical. I did add mitten flowers, including a little baby mitten flower budding from the top stem. And of course, so I really enjoyed doing that. And once I did, I stitched it out onto linen. Initially, I wanted this to be on linen because Bernie is all about using organic, sustainable goods. So I thought if I did it on linen, I could get some organic linen and print it on that. But the fact of the matter is, linen is very stretchy, so it did not stitch out well onto linen. So I ended up going back to my Silk Duchesse collection and stitching him out onto double-faced Silk Duchesse. And of course, it gives it that luxurious air, but it's also really pretty, and it's stitched out really nicely. My embroidery machine that I use is a Baby Lock Venture, but you know, this is really designed for a 10 needle. But however, each one only has about 15 to 22 color changes depending on which pattern and pattern size you pick. So if you don't have a 10 needle, I think it's still a perfectly doable project on just a spare day off. So after I stitched it out, I then took the time to tear off the excess stabilizer from the back. I use the Baby Lock tearaway stabilizer, and it's a very strong one, which is nice because this one does require a little bit more strength because it's so dense. I then did the top slit first. I used double folded bias tape because that's what I have on hand, and completely honestly, I feel like white functional bias tape is so Bernie. I used that and I just kind of folded it gently around the curves of the top slit. If you have larger hands, you may want to increase the slit like I did here. I don't particularly have large hands, but this is for my friend Costuming Drama, and I have no idea what size her hands are, so I'd rather be on the safe side rather than the not safe side. So I added about 1 inch at the top, and actually I think that should fit her very well. After that, I used my machine, and using a 3mm stitch, I stitched all the way around the edge. Then I put that piece on top of the cotton twill. After I did that, I then cut out the piece basically, just very broadly. You'll notice that there's an outline already stitched out in loose stitches, and then pinned it all the way around. I then stitched that out with a machine stitch as well. If you're curious about the handmade way to do this, Bernadette Banner, of course, has a fantastic video about how to do this using my dumpster fire pocket. I cut down the seam allowance to about 1/4 inch. I just guesstimated here. And then I got some more bias tape and then pinned that all the way around the edge. I then stitched that out as well, being sure to catch both sides of the bias tape when I stitched down all the way around. Then I got one last piece of double folded bias tape, folded the ends in, and then pinned it to the top. I then stitched only one horizontal row down across. I made a point of not sewing the edges closed because if I do that, then I have no place to sort of use as a drawstring. And then I used a tapestry needle and some cotton tape to push that through the top, and there you go. This was a 20-minute project tops, assuming you use a machine. I think Bernadette Banner did hers in about 3 hours, and she used all hand stitching. So if you want to use different things like ribbon instead of bias tape, I think that would be beautiful. For me, I had bias tape, and I just wanted this to be a very practical sort of pocket. This is a no-fuss man, and I feel like he deserves a no-fuss pocket. So then I put it on and I tested it out for a couple of hours, and it turns out this pocket is incredibly functional. I can put a lot in, and it's really comfortable to walk around my sewing room and have everything I could possibly want on hand. In my pocket, I carry my cell phone, a friction pen, a seam ripper, a ruler shaped like an acorn because those are adorable, and some wax. The wax is, of course, for sewing and thread. Oh, and a thimble because I don't go anywhere without it. So if you are interested in making your own, I do sell the hand sewing pattern as well as the digital pattern if you have an embroidery machine. Meanwhile, I really enjoyed this, and if you are interested in a kit, I do sell those on occasion. Currently, I'm booked for the next month to month and a half, but in a little bit, I may be putting more up for sale depending on what the interest is. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time for a more typical episode of my channel where I will be putting together the accessories for my Marie Antoinette dress.